Oh, there it is. I was like, oh, it's not showing.
Just let me know when.
No. It won. It won.
Hmm?
Hello, everybody.
Why are we throwing shit upstairs, man?
Why are we throwing shit
I
upstairs?
don't fucking know what's happening.
Why would they do this? Do they not
Because they're
know?
stuck on pie.
Pie.
We had a pie contest.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
yeah. My cousin won, the one that I live with.
Oh, really?
So,
She finally won one?
well, yeah, because there was one that was like peanut butter chocolate chip, an apple cheesecake cobbler thing. I don't know what the fuck it was. Um, and then my cousin's, I don't remember what it was. It was like coconut oatmeal something. I liked it, and I don't like coconut, so that should tell you. But she won. So,
Shit, where'd it go?
anyways, are we doing this?
Yeah, we're already on. Hi. Hello.
Is Josh alive?
Hello, you guys hear me?
Yeah, you like disappeared.
Sorry, my phone died. I
Oh,
Oh.
forgot that my phone battery drains faster in the cold, so when I was outside. Vroom, vroom, vroom.
she's fired.
Yeah.
It's fine, though.
And yeah. Um,
I'm not a real professional podcaster.
Nah, we just chilling out, relaxing. Ah.
That's
Hello, kitty.
good.
Can I
so
help you, kitty?
let me share this to my Facebook.
So, I guess welcome back, everybody, to our Twitch stream / podcast moment.
Yeah.
We recorded and we had plans for an episode for this Friday, but shit happened, and so we decided, oh well, let's just live stream. So, hello.
So, like I wrote in the post, we are going to be talking about vampires because that was originally our plan for the episode that we recorded. But for some reason, it only got Bree's voice and not Joshua's and mine.
We
So,
had auditory malfunctions happening.
Yeah.
yes. And I
It,
refuse to throw this episode away because I've
It
been
was
looking
it was
forward to it.
actually a pretty good episode, but I'm kind of, you know what, I'm
stop
gonna
it.
look at this as a moment for gratitude and see this as an opportunity to make it even better the
Dorian,
second.
Dorian, I swear to God, Dorian, why must you jump on the lap?
Because she
Right
wants
now.
love to function.
Right now, though. Dorian, I can't work in these conditions.
Is Dorian her cat?
Yes, Dorian is my kitty, and she
Okay.
has decided that she wants to sit on my lap, and got rid of my reference picture that I needed for my picture.
She's named after Dorian Gray because she's a gray kitty.
And she's a bitch.
I love that. You know, speaking of like, well, not speaking of it, but Dorian Gray legit was one of my favorite classic stories to read.
Same.
Oscar Wilde, she was lit. I love her.
She's everything I strive to be in an author.
Honestly, though, just like bodacious and a degenerate
Yeah.
and like kind of wealthy, but like spent all of that money on like sex workers and parties, which like, that's a
Wasn't
vibe.
she also like a socialist or a communist too?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that she was a communist.
We love that.
Sister, sister.
So
And like,
anyway,
she's pretty.
Right?
That's why she wrote Dorian Gray. Anyway, vampires. We're talking about the undead, the people with the sharp.
Mm. Oh, now I know why we were talking. Okay, so does Dorian Gray not remind you of kind of like a vampire-esque inspired character?
Well, yeah, because doesn't he like he never ages or
He
anything?
never ages, exactly.
He stays beautiful forever, except for his painting. His painting is
It's
so pretty.
very kind of like in the same vein, you could say. Vein.
Good pun, Dad.
Ah, you're welcome, my children. You're all welcome.
God. But yeah,
So vampires. Should we talk about the history of vampires?
sure. I threw away all of my notes. I told Bree and Josh this
She wrote 8 pages,
earlier.
yeah.
So
She
we're
wrote
gonna look at a
8 pages of
Wikipedia
notes.
list.
It's crazy.
It was 22, and then I deleted like a lot because I'm not allowed to do a lot of notes. So I threw that away because I thought, well, we're done with this episode. I don't need this in my files and my like Google Docs thing, so I'm just gonna get rid of it. And now here we are,
Well,
looking at
now
the
you know not
Wikipedia.
to get rid of your notes in the future. Bam.
There we go. Don't trust technology. Um, so where should we start with vampire history? Because I feel
Uh,
like we already
let's
know what they
let's
are.
start with Carmilla and Dracula.
Oh, so we're starting with like literature and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or oh no, okay, I get what you're saying. No. All right, let's start where at the real. Yeah, you're right.
Okay. So bear with me, I guess, because like I said, I'm on Wikipedia and it's not my cute little organized highlighted note fashion. Um, so vampires have probably, or like the mythology surrounding vampires have probably been around like as long as humans, and they appear in all sorts of cultures, not just like the
Clock
European.
on, okay, it does not matter.
Yeah. Ooh, something about Russian folklore just popped up in regards to vampires. Hold on. Oh, in Russian folklore, vampires were said to have once been witches or people who had rebelled against the Russian Orthodox Church while they were alive. Well,
Yeah,
that's
they're
cute.
called Wiedźmin.
Yeah, I couldn't read that, but thank you.
Is that what it says on the Wikipedia page? Because it
Yes,
better. Okay, yeah, no, they're pronounced Wiedźmin.
yes. So essentially, if you weren't a Christian, you were a vampire. Is that what that means?
Um,
Is that
like,
what?
okay, Russian culture has very interesting history with Christianity. Um, like, I would not be surprised if that was at one time something that the general population believed.
Well, in most cases in regards to vampires, usually across Europe, they are remnants of like evil beings, suicide victims, or witches, and they can also be created by a malevolent spirit possessing a corpse or being bitten by a vampire. So like with Buffy, the Buffy vampires are weird in that way in that it's the vampires are actually demons. So once you are bitten by a vampire and like your blood is drained and you die and shit, like your body is taken over by a demon from hell who has all of your memories and thinks like you and thinks they are you, but they also know that they are a demon. So that I guess that kind of makes a little sense now. I didn't know that it like there was a time
I
when they
kind of
were,
love that. Actually.
yeah, like that was one, I guess. Well, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, but that's because I'm too invested in that fucking TV show. But
Yeah.
now I know where he kind of got it from. Because
Yeah.
always thought that was weird because usually they're just, the same people that died and came back to life. The demon thing was kind of new to me.
It's a cute little quest for sure. And
Yeah,
then just like in general, like the popularized, I guess, the vampire that we consume the most, you could say, is mainly inspired by, Eastern European, like Romanian communities, or just transient Eastern European communities.
did you know there are people that like try to that say that Lilith was the first vampire or whatever?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of people that are kind of like fanficking the Christian Bible, with the idea of Lilith being the first wife of Adam and therefore being the first vampire.
First of all, icon,
Icon, and
feminist
like who
icon.
else would be both a first vampire and the mother of demons and heir to the hellish throne? Like she is truly a queen.
All because she wanted to be on top during sex.
Yeah, imagine the
Imagine,
power, the impact.
Imagine being so insecure as Adam that you have your wife banished from the Garden of Eden because she wanted to straddle you during sex.
I mean, it kind of is very on brand for like the het males.
That's tiny
For
dick
cat
energy.
males. That's a very tiny dick energy.
Oh my god. I
I
love
mean,
her
have you guys tried riding a tiny dick in that position? It's
though.
not easy.
No. I'm guessing you've tried.
Oh, baby.
Oh baby,
Tried,
baby.
conquered, same thing.
Well, what else did I talk about? Why am I yawning? I've had 2 cups of coffee today. Um,
I love that for you.
well, today is a stressful day because I literally thought I was gonna have to see my family, and thank God that didn't happen. Thank you, COVID. I appreciate that one aspect of you. That's it. That I couldn't
Thank you,
see my family.
COVID.
I don't know what else is there to really say about like the origins or history of vampires other than like what we've already said. 'Cause I feel like most people kind of already know like the basics. Like they drink blood, there are different ways to protect yourselves from them, there's different ways to kill them. People that actually believed in vampires just didn't understand how decomposition worked. Like I don't really know what else there is to say except what we already
Oh,
said.
and also, I would like to add, on top of corpses, which I knew this, but I forgot to mention this in the failed recording. But they do think that, but some people think that certain images, or not images, I guess, but certain symptoms of diabetes can present itself like in ways that could be interpreted as somebody turning into a vampire, like especially if it's untreated and medicated, and in those days, like how could we?
Yeah.
Thank you, science and technology and modern medicine. But like it was very common back in the day if you developed diabetes that you would get like a receding gum line and bleeding gums and like, obviously your sugar levels would be fucked up. So you would go from, being normal and energized and, whatever to like crashing into, like a no energy and very pale. And
Oh
so,
shit. So what you're
yeah.
saying is my little cousin is a vampire.
Exactly.
I'm gonna tell him that later.
There
That
you
might be.
go. There you go. You tell him that if he was born in like the Dark Ages, they would have totally thought he was a little vampire.
Oh, I guess I could mention that in Puerto Rico and Mexico, but like it originated in Puerto Rico. You're welcome. One of the most notable cases of vampiric entities is I can't say this word. Bree, help me out. Chupacabra? Is that how
The
you say it?
chupacabra,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which is the goat sucker, and it is said to be a creature that feeds upon the flesh or drinks the blood of domesticated animals, leading some to consider it a kind of vampire. You're welcome. We give you goat sucking vampires thingies. I don't know what is a chupacabra? Is it like an animal? Because I know there's like different variations of it. There's one that kind of looks like a fucking lizard. Yeah, there he is. There she is.
From what I understand, there are, I guess, different versions
Yeah,
of the
so like it
chupacabra
originated.
depending on which region you're from.
Yeah, so like in Puerto Rico, I know that they are mostly like kind of in the form of like dogs or coyotes or something like that. And I don't know what the story, I think it's the same in Mexico, but they're like a lot of the times chupacabras are usually just Mexican hairless dogs. They're not actually goat sucking demons, but there's a little fun fact from my people, I guess. We just Oh my God. My computer keeps freezing. But I don't know. There's not a lot here on other like regions or like countries in regards to vampires. Like it's mainly just European folklore, as if that's like the only fucking continent on the planet. But do you have anything to add, Brie? You're kind of quiet.
Huh?
Dad on the
No.
history or folklore of the undead?
No, I was told not to study for that, so I didn't.
Okay. Well, then, do you want to do we want to start talking about like Dracula and Carmilla then?
Go for it.
Yes.
Well, let's start with Carmilla first because she came first.
All
Has
right.
anyone have you read her? Have you read the novel?
I have not read Carmilla, but I have watched a YouTube video about Carmilla.
I
Oh
mean,
my goodness.
that's probably going to be the best we're going to get.
I read her like a really long time ago because there was like this YouTube channel series that was loosely based on the novel, and but like I think that was like back in 2013 that I read it. So I don't remember much. I just know that it came out before Dracula. There's been a couple film iterations on her, and she's kind of known as like the lesbian vampire. And her story is definitely more romantic than Dracula's. People say that Dracula's story is romantic, but it's not. If you actually read the book, it's not a romantic story. Dracula's not a romantic figure. So while I do think Bram Stoker took a lot from Carmilla, that's one of the things he didn't really take from it. But she's
Well,
not
and
really talked about as much.
Carmilla was written by an Irish author named Joseph Sheridan
Sheridan.
Sheridan Le Fanu.
Listen.
I'm so sorry, Ireland. I cannot read your
No,
names.
thank you.
Um, and it was one of the earlier published works of vampire fiction and predated Bram Stoker's Dracula by about 26 years. So the story is essentially about a female vampire named Carmilla who drinks the blood of young, beautiful maidens.
Ooh.
Um, and so, and it was kind of like, had very lesbianic, romantic undertones towards the protagonist in the book. Um, so yeah, it's been I guess interpreted and adapted in like stage versions and TV shows and
And an
movies and
opera.
film. Yeah, so cute. I might actually sit down and read this 'cause it sounds pretty amazing.
That could be one of our first books that we do for the podcast because now I'm
Oh yeah, we could absolutely do the review of Carmilla.
because I don't think it's that long. If
I
I
mean,
remember
even if
correctly.
it is, that's fine.
It's like I think 100. Yeah, it says on the Wikipedia that it's 108 pages, so I think we'll survive. So, but yeah, that she's not really talked about as much. And I don't want to blame the patriarchy, but I'm going to blame the patriarchy for that. So there.
Well, you know, I mean, it wasn't like Bram Stoker's Dracula was as revered when it was released the way it is now either. It
Yeah,
was kind of seen as like a smut reading.
which is unfortunate. It's kind of weird how that happens with a lot of like our favorite classic books because wasn't the picture of Dorian Gray taken that way too?
Oh yeah, no, Dorian Gray was totally considered just, gay smut art.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll take it.
I mean, so was oh God, how can I be blanking on his name? Campbell Soup Can. Andy Warhol. Andy
There we
Warhol
go.
was considered, a lunatic and a degenerate, and his work was mocked when he was alive.
Yeah.
And now we understand how his work was actually a social commentary about, American manufactured celebrity.
Yeah.
He literally said that he wanted to create stars that had 15 minutes of fame.
And he did it.
Yeah. So it's interesting. We should talk about that one day of, how a lot of more misunderstood social commentary focused on society from kind of a artsy queer lens is always kind of like shit on at first.
Sorry, my house is very loud and full of loud, inconsiderate people.
That's okay. I'm sure you guys can probably hear my dogs barking.
But yeah, like obviously Dracula is very important to the history of vampires in media in general, not just literature.
Oh, no, it totally changed the game when it came to, like, almost, could we say, like, sexual horror?
Well, sexual horror and gothic horror in general,
Yeah.
I would think. I think we talked a little bit about Dracula in our Vlad the Impaler Elizabeth Bathory podcast episode, mainly in the fact that like regardless of despite what people think, like it didn't really come from the story of Vlad the Impaler or anything like that. Like we said, it's pretty likely that he took a lot of inspiration from Carmilla, um, but obviously with a male spin. Not that there isn't like homoeroticism underneath it, because like I feel like with every vampire thing, there's just a little bit of gay going on there. Just even in Twilight and shit, like there's a little bit of a fairy dust sprinkled on top.
Jessica.
You think so too?
I was at the very minimum a bisexual. But we can discuss that when we get to Twilight.
We will discuss that when we get to Twilight. But yeah, obviously, like that book changed everything. I feel like, and then even the movie with Bella. Oh no, we can't start with the Bela Lugosi Dracula. We have to start with Nosferatu, don't we?
Nosferatu,
Because that was a loose
the original
adaptation.
daddy.
God. That's a silent movie that I'm going to make Brie watch because I don't think she's ever seen a silent film.
It's not very long, Brie. It's honestly very watchable.
I feel like you would enjoy the visuals.
Yeah.
So we're definitely, yeah, like the first like adaptation, I put quotes in the air for that, was Nosferatu, and it was, when did that come out? It was 1922, and it was directed by F.W. Murnau and starred Matt Schreck as Count Orlok. So they couldn't use Count Dracula because they didn't get like any permission to do that. So in order to avoid copyright issues, they kind of changed that. But it's essentially the story of Dracula. Like that's Nosferatu, and unlike the every other, I think, adaptation of Dracula, he's not hot. He's very creepy looking. Got like a big long hook nose, pointy ears, bald head. He scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. Like I didn't watch the movie until high school, but I'd seen pictures and stuff of it, and I was, the makeup on that guy was pretty damn good, especially for like a film from 1922.
It was great. And honestly, if we didn't have Nosferatu, would we have Batboy from the National Enquirer when we were kids growing up in the 90s and checking out at the supermarket?
Batboy! I
Batboy.
forgot about him.
So good. So good, but uncanny to Nosferatu, honestly.
Weekly World News, man. What a special organization. God. I totally forgot about that. He has a musical. Shut the fuck up. Batboy, the musical. It sounds like a DC character, honestly.
I would so live if DC bought the rights to the name Batboy.
Same. Please make him a comic book character if he's not already.
Please. So good.
Oh my god. But yeah, obviously Nosferatu was like the first adaptation of Dracula, and then we would go on to like Bela Lugosi's Dracula, which is also a great movie. If you haven't seen it, you should go watch it. Bela Lugosi is great in pretty much everything he does. Rest in peace, my dude. There's like so many iterations of that character. Like we have those two. We have Christopher Lee. We have Blackula. We have the one from the 1990s, which not at all really liked the book, but was still really good, minus Keanu Reeves' really bad English
I
accent.
firmly disagree.
You don't like Dracula from 1992?
No, I love it. I disagree about the Keanu part. I think he was excellent. Excellent.
He was good in the role, his accent was bad.
I just, you know,
You said word
ignore the
candy.
accent and like look at him. Just appreciate what it is before you that you have. Well, this is a day of gratitude, and I am grateful for Keanu Reeves.
Oh my god. I love that movie so much. I love Anthony Hopkins. I love Winona
Yes,
Ryder. I love Keanu
yes.
Reeves, Gary Oldman. It was a stellar cast.
Honestly, go watch the Dracula from the 90s. Log off, stop watching this. Go watch the 90s Dracula. We'll wait for 2 hours.
Oh my god, and also watch the 2020 TV series from the BBC and Netflix about Dracula, because that one was great too.
Yeah.
It's only 3 episodes, and it's
It's
very
only
different from
three
the book.
episodes. It's a very good. It's a very good. It's like I don't want to spoil it. I
Don't
don't
spoil
want to
it, don't
spoil it.
spoil it. It's
Okay.
so
It's
good.
it's so good. It starts off kind of familiarly. Um and it takes some really creative but like respectful twists and turns, I felt.
Yeah, and we're getting a new Dracula movie from the writer of Juno and Jennifer's Body, which makes me very fucking happy because she's an incredible writer. I don't care what anybody says. Jennifer's Body is a perfect film.
It's
Don't
a perfect film. It is a
at me with that.
perfect film. It is, I mean, it's for me, it's on the level of Mean Girls and Fifth Element in terms of like sheer perfection.
I like Jennifer's Body more than Mean Girls. Don't at me. And I love Mean Girls. You know I do.
I know you do. I know you do. For me, it's not about which one is better. Each one has like just a special. It is my trifecta of perfection.
Mine is I love Jennifer's Body. Well, they're none of them are like in my top five, but Jennifer's Body, Heather's, and oh my God, Mean Girls are like oh, and Jawbreaker,
Wait,
Jawbreaker.
Jennifer's Body isn't in your top five?
No, my top my top five is well, I guess it is because my first three movies are a three-way tie, so I guess it is. So like it goes Titanic, Pretty in Pink, The Shining, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then Jennifer's Body. So I have a list. Oh no, and Heather's before Jennifer's Body actually. Heather's means a lot to me as a human being. Winona Ryder, she can do no wrong. But Jennifer's Body's in my top 10.
I mean, you know this about me. I'm not a super diehard fan of Pretty in Pink.
No, you're not.
I do like I do like Heather's, but nowhere near as much as I love Jennifer's Body.
Heather's just means more to me. That's a movie that's special for me and my brother
Yeah.
and stuff.
No, and I totally get that. I totally get that. It's
Yeah,
a sentimental placement, is kind of like what you're saying, right?
yeah, yeah. And I
Yeah.
watch both of them multiple times a year. Like I keep running with movies.
Well, not me for the Heathers, but like me and Mean Girls, or me and Fifth Element, or me and Jennifer's Body.
I watch
I'll
Mean Girls every
literally watch them
October
at
3rd.
any time.
So, but yeah, like I'm very excited for the new Dracula, and I'm excited that they're trying to make a Nosferatu remake too, but it's gonna be by the directors of The
Oh,
Witch and The Lighthouse.
every single pore in my body is ready for a Nosferatu remake. It better be good. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it's directed by the guy who's doing The Witch and The Lighthouse, so I mean,
I mean, you know it's gonna be great.
yes. As soon as he's done finishing his Viking movie that he's making with Alexander Skarsgård and Nicole
Which
Kidman,
I'm gonna go see.
obviously anything he puts out, I'm like, all right, I'm here.
Yeah.
But if you guys haven't seen The Witch or The Lighthouse, by the way, click off of this and go to Amazon Prime, watch The Lighthouse. I don't know where The Witch is streaming anymore, but go rent it and go watch that. They're both excellent movies,
Honestly, watch The Witch multiple times.
multiple times. Because for some people, it does take multiple
You'll
years.
be the better off for it. Watch The
Yeah.
Witch more than once. At least more than once.
Yes. 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 It's that movie is so good. It's so good. And that was his first ever film. So go Robert
Hmm.
Eggers.
Sorry to everybody listening. I live in a state where marijuana is legal, so I am over the age of 21, and I'm happily partaking. Smoke safe.
So where should we move on from here? We've talked about Dracula. We've talked about Carmilla. Where do you want to go next?
Um, do you want to start again with like our histories with it?
Oh, that's right. So going back to us, um, let's talk about our history of vampires. So for me, I got into vampires at a very young age, around the time that Buffy the Vampire Slayer came out. I think either around the first or second season. I don't know what it was. I knew I was watching the show because I liked Sarah Michelle Gellar because I really liked I Know What You Did Last Summer and shit like that. But from
Great
that point,
movie.
yeah, from that moment on, I was very into vampires. I discovered Interview with the Vampire. I discovered Blade. I got into like the Underworld series,
Yeah!
which
The Underworld series!
I have the first four. Granted, I think the first three movies are the best. I think the newer ones are not
You
as
know
great.
what? I love all of them. I'm just gonna say it. I
I
own
think you
my
just love
cat.
Kate Beckinsale and
I
that
love
outfit
Kate
shooting people.
Beckinsale with blue contacts. I love Kate Beckinsale with blue contacts and like styrofoam vampire teeth. Don't at me, sis. It's great every time. You won't. Okay, tell me one person who watches an Underworld movie, any Underworld movie, and is like disappointed by seeing Kate Beckinsale.
No one is because she's a babe.
No one is. So any Underworld movie, a success. A success. A smashing hit. An instant classic. Don't at me.
But can we agree though that the first three were the best ones?
I mean, I think they were taken, more seriously and maybe made with a
Oh,
higher
apparently
budget.
they were never taken seriously, apparently. And I don't understand. I think they're wonderful films. I think I like the
I
second
love
one the
them.
best.
I love them so much. You know what? I've never met a person who was an Underworld fan that was also an asshole. How about that?
I think I preferred like going back to history, my history and shit. I preferred like the Underworld series to like what everyone else was watching at the time, which is like the Resident Evil series, which I like the Resident Evil series minus the
Oh,
last
I
five
do
installments.
love the Resident Evil series too. God damn it.
The last five movies were not great. They weren't.
Um, I can be a big enough person to say that you may or may not have a point in that sentence that you just verbally stated.
The first two were the best. The first
Um,
two.
I am not agreeing or disagreeing
You know I'm right.
with the sentence that you just verbally stated. I respect your opinion.
We will get more into that later when we do our we're gonna do because I'm
A
debating
zombie
now.
episode. A zombie
Well,
episode.
oh, I was gonna do a Resident Evil episode about the game because I
Oh
played
yeah,
all the
yeah,
games and
fuck
watched
it.
all the movies.
Resident Evil zombies are my favorite anyway, so let's just do that instead.
Yeah, those are the only zombies I care about. When we do a zombie
Honestly, they
episode,
were
I'm
the
gonna be a dick.
scariest. They were the scariest because they had different versions. But this is not the episode to talk about that.
No, 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 no. We're still on vampires. But yeah, like I was saying,
Vampire.
I had gotten into Underworld. I had started reading, especially in high school, during my little emo years. I obviously was into Twilight, which we will get into. I
Twilight.
was very into gothic vampire fiction like Anne Rice, which we will also get into.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Anita Blake Vampire Hunter series, which we will also get into. It's not a good time. And True Blood, the Suki Stackhouse books and the TV show. So like I've just been and I write about vampires all the time. The novel that I'm working on that I hopefully will finish at some point is mainly about vampires. Don't at me. They're making a comeback. Goodbye zombies. I'm over you anyway. So yeah, I mean, and honestly how I became friends with Josh again was because of vampires. Because we were reading Twilight.
Yeah,
And
honestly, so me and Kelsey, we were friends in first grade, but I moved to a different location.
me too.
Um, and so we didn't end up seeing each other for like 10 years
And forgot about each other.
and totally forgot about each other. Met each other in high school because I saw that she was carrying a Twilight book.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my God, I fucking read that book too. And then we were like instantly friends immediately again.
Yeah. We didn't find out actually that we were friends in first grade until 2 years ago.
Yeah, I found a picture of both of us in the same class, and then I remembered our friendship. And then I called her like within seconds.
Yeah, you were my lesbian Barbie friend.
We were lesbian Barbie friends.
But talk about your history with vampires.
Okay, so I grew up in a sheltered religious household. So I wasn't allowed to watch a lot of TV or a lot of movies, but I was allowed to read. And so I would go to the library, and because I thought that I was like so mature and like so smart for my age, I decided to read Dracula because like obviously vampires, and you're like a 9-year-old kid. Do I need to explain?
No.
No, I don't. So I read Dracula. Um, it was amazing, a little bit wordy.
Well, yeah, when you're 9 years old, especially, it's wordy.
Yeah, but like I was the type of 9-year-old, like I read about, Robinson Crusoe and, like Oliver Twist and Great
I
Expectations.
loved Oliver Twist when I was a kid.
Yeah, so I was definitely reading more like I guess older people type of classics.
We
I
didn't
don't
have a
know.
lot of options when we were kids. Like, I'm just gonna, for the,
Yeah, well, I mean, like I liked Nancy Drew, but I mean, Nancy Drew didn't give me the ooh ah ah fantasy sensation. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, like you want a little bit of like honestly, I didn't know about children's fantasy when I was a kid.
it wasn't really marketed towards us. Like nowadays, you have
No.
like the YA section and middle grade sections that are like clearly marketed. It wasn't really until like Harry Potter got really, really big that we started getting marketed too. Because our
Yeah,
books were
and
kind of
by the
told in the
time
background.
Harry Potter came out, I was already in fifth grade.
The first Harry Potter came out in 1997, and it didn't really get
Oh.
popular until the third book, which was like 1999, I want to say.
Well, I guess I should say I didn't
2000.
hear about Harry Potter until I was in fifth grade when the
I was
first
in third
movie
grade.
was coming out.
Yeah, I was in third grade, and it was after Chamber of Secrets came out, but I didn't read it until the fourth grade
Yeah.
when
And I was totally not allowed to read Harry Potter when it was coming out anyway.
witchcraft.
Yeah, essentially.
Parents suck. But anyways, continue.
And as I just got older, like, movies started coming out that were more geared towards, kind of like YA sci-fi lovers, like Underworld, for example,
Like what?
which came out when I think I was like in sixth or seventh grade.
What book was that?
Underworld, not book.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah. Um, and so I was like, it was kind of like the perfect timing. And then I got into, obviously Twilight a couple of years after that. Bada bing, bada boom. Now I'm like almost 30 and I'm still into vampires. Love that for me.
Oh my God, I'm gonna be 30 in 7 days.
Yeah. But
Just
to be
remembered.
honest, I've always liked, the that gothic aesthetic. I've always liked, kind of like that romantical obsession with death.
Speaking of gothic, we have to talk about like once we're done with the other stuff, we have to talk about vampires in music and in goth music because holy shit. Our
Uh,
goths like me are very into like that aesthetic.
I mean, like, The Cure. We can just say it. The
The
Cure.
Cure, Bauhaus, like
Bauhaus, absolutely.
every little goth band, even non-goth bands like him and My Chemical Romance.
Oh,
We'll get
yeah,
into that though.
super, super influenced.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would say that him was kind of like, I mean, they were nowhere as big, I think, as The Cure, but I feel like him was kind of our generation's The Cure, but like not as polished, I guess, or more polished. I don't know what I'm saying,
I feel like
but
you could
you
say
know
the
what I
same thing
mean,
about
right?
NCR, honestly.
Yeah. But I feel like sound-wise, I
Sound
feel
wise,
him was closer to The Cure than MCR was, for
yeah,
sure.
they both had
For
like
sure.
influences from The Cure.
Yeah. But you could hear it
You
in
could
him.
hear it in him. You could
Yeah.
hear The Cure and Typo Negative in him, like
Oh,
super strong.
yeah. Which I mean, like, go off. I love
Yeah,
that.
but
Yeah. So I guess like even yeah, even with music, we were consuming a lot of that ish, a lot of that good spooky gothic vampire loving ish.
we really liked dead shit apparently.
Yeah. And I mean like I mean, luckily I work at a job where I have to wear all black, but I generally wear all black anyways.
Yeah, me too, obviously.
Um so I guess like even now fashion wise, it's still very much my aesthetic. Like I'm a fucking Fang Banger, you guys.
And it's so much fun, like when we go to we go to a goth club in a city that's like a few hours away where our friend Isaac lives, and like that's like the perfect place to like dress up as a vampire and not be treated like you're wearing a costume. And there are other people that are into vampires and they also look like it.
Yeah.
Ugh,
It's really cool because I mean, like, one thing that I do agree with our problematic sister, Miss RuPaul, um, we are born naked and the rest is drag.
yeah,
So why not dress up like a fucking vampire and feel sexy and eternal and, sickening?
exactly.
I mean, like honestly, putting on a business suit, that's just business drag. You're in business drag. You know, like
Exactly.
having a Sunday hat and a little row of pearls and that cute little pastel jacket with a skirt that hits just above your ankles with the sensible Sunday shoes. M Mary, that is, a Christian woman drag.
I
That
love
is
that.
Christian woman drag, honey. Like, you know what I'm saying? So for me, I don't even believe in that. Like, I literally feel like everything that we put on every single day is our drag.
Yeah.
So if I want to have a day where I go off and dress sexily and hauntingly, you let me feel that fantasy, sis.
It's just harder in the town that we live in.
Yeah, no, it sucks.
Yeah.
Sucks here.
Uh, so Bree, what about you?
For like my history,
Yeah.
um, well, I was deprived child, but for slightly different reasonings, and um, so I wasn't allowed to watch things that I wanted to watch or read things that I wanted to read, and I was often caught sneaking, um, reading like chapters as much as I can in the bathroom of like those dirty old school like romance books.
We love that.
Same.
um so like I would sneak around and I would read, and like my mother had like a thing for fantasy. So she loved reading the fantasy stuff. So there was some of that and everything, but I didn't really get like my first introduction to like vampire movies. Oh god, what was it? It was Blade and Queen of the Damned and Interview with a Vampire. Those were the first like
Love that.
real vampire movies that I got to watch, and I was
Okay,
in
can
love
we
with
just
it.
take a moment to pause and appreciate Queen of the Damned for like 10 seconds?
Queen of the Damned. And
That is
here we
one of the
go.
when I saw Queen of the Damned as a young queer little child, that was one of the moments where I was like, damn, I wish I was kind of like a little bit straight because like she's obviously very litty.
That was I am going to be honest, I hate that movie. But the only things I liked about it were Aaliyah as Akasha because I thought she did a fantastic job.
A perfect casting choice, honestly.
Yeah, perfect casting choice, and the fucking soundtrack was amazing. I
Oh,
listened to it
so
over
good.
and over and over again. I hate the movie. I think it's poorly made. I think it bastardized the novel. It tried to put two novels into one movie, which didn't work. I have issues with it. I hate it. I'm glad you guys love it. I'm glad it makes you happy. But
I mean, can you enjoy it for the thing that it just was though? Like, I
oh,
mean,
if I
I know deep down in the intelligent part of my brain, very deep down. I guess I know that it's not a good movie, but it's still kind of a great movie.
I love the novels too much to like be okay with it. You
Okay.
know,
I mean, I can respect that. I can
but
respect
I
that.
think Akasha, Aaliyah as Akasha was perfection. You cannot convince me that there was a better choice to play Akasha than Aaliyah.
Uh,
Rest in
what
peace,
would you
Queen.
give to get bitten by Akasha, Brie?
My whole fucking virginity.
That scene, that scene in the
Absolutely.
bathtub with the rose petals, that's my
Oh,
Oh,
category of
God,
stop
bullshit.
it.
yes.
Stop it. Oh.
And when did that movie come out before like spill this
Also,
next
I love
part?
your version of divorce.
2001,
I'm
I
just
think.
gonna say.
2001, 2002.
Yeah, it was, we were young.
Let me look really quick. I'm on Wikipedia anyway. Queen of the Damned film.
It was around the time Daredevil came out, which is a great movie.
Yeah, it came out in 2002.
2002.
We don't
So
talk
that's
about
when I
Daredevil.
was like, I just was starting to explore my bisexuality.
Oh
And
yeah.
her
Yeah.
on top of the woman that made me realize that I too like women. Like,
Her in the club, like
Mm.
shaking her body, like dancing in that weird way, like that was like
Yeah.
fluid and like supernatural. That did it for little 11-year-old me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I wonder honestly, I would love like if anybody's actually like watching us or listening to us, write a comment and tell us like if you found yourself waking up to sexual feelings when you watched Queen of the Damned. If you watched it when you were like younger,
Yeah, yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
like what we were talking about.
Uh,
Um, so you said it was Queen of the Damned, Interview with a Vampire, and Blade, right?
yep, those were the first like real vampire movies that I got to see. And it was just like, oh, the darkness in my heart. It speaks to me.
Ah! I love it. Yes.
Yeah. So,
By the way, just in case anybody was wondering, yes, we were very emo when we all met each other.
very, very emo.
Like dyed black hair that we straightened pretty much
Smudged
every day.
eyeliner.
Not good, not good. Like raccoons. Raccoons!
I don't regret our haircuts though. Like I
I
still
don't
think
honestly the
emo
razor
haircuts stand
cuts
up.
were lit. Like my long ass fringe bangs were kind of it.
Yeah, I know like Gen Z likes to make fun of us for our haircuts, but I'm like most of them still hold up. I don't know what you're talking about. You all have the same shy side shaved haircut, whatever the fuck it is now that the boys have. Like at least we were creative. At least we put like raccoon stripes in our hair and had ourselves a good fucking time. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm pissed off.
And like you think you invented neon hair? Ha! Ha!
We
That's what
didn't
I
even
think.
invent it.
Hello, scene kids? Scene kids.
Scene kids and
Please.
80s kids, man.
I mean,
The punk
So
scene
good.
in the 80s, like neon hair, like crazy.
Oh, it's so good. Yes. Honestly, though, like, even though this is fun, I don't actually hold any hard feelings against Gen Zers. Like,
No, I
I
love
think
them.
I love them. I think that they're like shit posters just like us.
Yes.
And they had more access to better information than we ever did,
Yeah.
which is great for them. I love that for them. I kind of feel dumb sometimes because I have to like catch up and learn, but that's a
This is
good
all in
thing.
good fun. Like we
Uh,
jest with each other. So
we love you guys, honestly. Please grow up to fix everything
don't be a
that's been
boomer.
broken.
Yeah, no, no hate to Gen Z. I don't think they hate us either. We work together. It's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were all very emo kids, very into the darkness, I guess, as
The
our
Dark
lovely friend
Knight.
Isaac would say.
Okay, yeah. I mean, let's not talk about our usernames this time, right?
Yeah,
Our
no.
user. I'm gonna if you guys want to see like badly written vampire stories, fan fiction, and poetry, go to deviantart.com Edward's lover bitch, and you can laugh at my nonsensical story writing and poetry that I wrote.
It's pretty great, you guys.
It's pretty it's pretty awful. I think the last thing I wrote wasn't like dark or spooky because that was when I was going through like, oh, I'm an adult, I need to be normal now phase. But
Oh,
before that, like it was a pretty good time. Just a lot of slitting of wrist poetry, like very, very emo and full of darkness and blood. So I'll
that's
go with
okay.
mine.
That's okay because I had a username that I don't want to say right now.
Okay.
But let's just say that it could be definitely taken as like an anti-vaxxer statement, which it absolutely was not.
I forgot. I remember your username, but I forgot why it was funny
Um, yeah.
at the time.
I just think that like our sense of humor was awful. Yeah.
Bree picked out my name. I didn't even pick it out.
You know what? Like, we
But
sat
we all
there and
liked
we
it
got
though.
through
That's
them,
the
and
We
thing.
I
all
We
asked
liked
all
you.
it.
liked our
No, no, no,
usernames.
no. I asked you. I was like, "Hey, what about this name?" Because like we were sitting there for like forever, couldn't think of a name, and you're just like, "Oh my god, yes!" And you typed it in, and you pressed enter, and I was like, "Okay."
Everybody was cool with it. Everybody was like, yeah,
I
Team
loved it.
Edward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So I don't
So
even want to
God.
hear it.
Twilight United us, obviously. Edward's lover bitch is kind of a dead ass giveaway.
Yes. God.
Um,
Ew.
I regret nothing. Twilight is great. Yeah, go read the books and go watch the movies. They're cheesy as fuck. Enjoy.
Yeah,
Um,
um, let's make some things clear if we're gonna get to it, because I ranted
yeah,
about this in the recording and nobody got to hear it, so now you get to hear me rant about it again.
yes.
You guys. Um, Twilight has its problems, particularly in regards to imprinting, the way she treated the Quileute Nation, never
Mhm.
gave them money for using their tribe as werewolves or shapeshifters. Sorry, they're not werewolves. They're technically shapeshifters.
Yeah.
Um, it isn't the best written thing in the world. It's better than like 50 Shades of Grey,
Oh,
but
and also, let's not skip over the fact that the Cullens were basically painted
oh,
as like, righteous colonizers,
yeah,
and that the tribe shouldn't have been offended that they moved in right
yeah,
into their territory.
yeah.
Yeah.
And relationships with everyone. Like
Yeah.
Bella and Edward's relationship wasn't healthy. Jacob and
No.
Bella's relationship used to be healthy until it
Um,
flipped.
yes. Also, there throughout the entire series, there are certain awkward spots where there's like, I mean, like, Judeo-Christian undertones.
Mormon undertones.
Yeah,
Let's just keep it
yes.
real.
Mormon undertones in the book that are quite problematic and cringe.
Breaking Dawn was literally just an anti-abortion book.
Yeah, yeah,
The worst book in the series. The worst
yeah.
book in I was okay, when I was like 17, before I defend it, let me just talk shit on it. Before when I first read Breaking Dawn, I was so angry, not just because it was super anti-abortion and I'm like very pro-choice, but because like she married him and I was like, she's 18. I don't understand why we're getting married at 18. Like I'm somebody who's big into marriage and stuff like that.
Imagine if you were 18 years old. Imagine you were 18 years old and actually Edward's lover bitch, and then he impregnates you with a supernatural vampire baby
Which I
that
hate.
you can't get rid of, and then also commit yourself to eternal marriage with said vampire and then become a vampire, all at the age of 18. But you can't smoke or go to the bar and have a drink yet.
Yeah, I see that was my thing with Bella. I hated that she wanted to be a vampire so young. I was like, wait till you're 21. Just wait till you're 21. But then I remembered it was written by a Mormon, so the Mormon's not going to care about drinking and
Yeah.
having a good time and enjoying your 20s. No,
But
no,
but I'm
no.
saying, like, just in perspective, like
I know, I
18
know.
years old is like a ridiculous age to be like.
Well, I don't
I
like
mean,
that in
obviously, if vampires were real and I was back when I was 18, I would have instantly become like
well, yeah.
instantly.
That wasn't really my main issue though. I just hated for some reason, even though I'm a big fan of like I've always wanted to get married and I have my wedding planned out and everything. I've always hated it in romance series or novels when the characters get married at the end and that's supposed to be the happy ending. I don't know why. I'm just not a fan of like the whole marriage and kids thing in books. I don't like it. I don't want that. That's fucking boring to me. So that
Well, yeah, like
pissed
here's
me.
the thing though, like I don't really see children in my future, if I'm being just very honest. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy kids. I really am not a kid person.
So speaking of kids, before you go on, hey Bree,
What?
why don't you put a picture up of Renesmee on the screen?
Of
Oh
who?
God.
The baby from Twilight. I feel like you should put up a picture of
I
Renesmee on
agree with
What?
screen.
Wait, hold on. How do you spell it again?
Uh,
Renesmee.
R
Renesmee.
E N E S. Oh, I
M-E.
found it.
The creepiest picture you can find. Just put it on the screen while we're talking about children.
Yeah.
I feel like that's important.
Like,
Hang on.
why do we not have more happy endings that don't involve kids?
Kids in
Or-
marriage, man.
Yeah.
We're talking.
Not the cute kid. The creepy. You passed it. Go up. Go
Yeah.
up.
Like, why
Go up.
can't we have more happy
Are you
endings?
talking this thing?
No, she's cute. The other one, the one with the there it is. Go to the side. Nope. Yeah, there she is. There's Renesmee.
I love that.
That was before they CGI'd it, by the way, for anybody that's watching. That's the doll that's in the Forks Museum right now. And they say it's haunted. By the way, we're going to Forks sometime this spring, and I'm very excited to meet that creepy ass doll. Just so you guys are aware.
Just
But
so
yeah.
happy.
Oh, hey, there's an article about that.
Creepy doll. Her socks get dirty when she walks around. Creepy doll that was made to portray a vampire child is rumored to be haunted. That is a terrifying creature.
That is a little bit.
But yeah, like that was just I hated that. Like that in the book just made no sense in regards to the rest of the series. Like we didn't get like a real fight scene or anything in Breaking Dawn. Like it was like you thought there was gonna be this big battle between the Volturi and the Cullens. And did that happen? Did that happen?
Which
No, it did
hashtag
not.
Team Volturi? But we'll discuss that later.
Yeah, why is the screen black? What's going on?
Oh, my bad. Hang on.
So yeah,
This one.
even though I was shitting on it hard right now, I do love Twilight a
We
lot.
unironically love Twilight. We are just
Obviously.
acknowledging the parts about it that are in fact shitty.
But you know what's not shitty? You know what's not shitty? Sparkling, glittering, It's not shitty. There's
It's
nothing
not shitty,
wrong.
in fact. You know what's not shitty? Hot, tender moments of hot pinkness. That's not shitty either. We love apparently emotional manipulation by 100-year-old vampire. That's very hot to us.
We like it. We like it a
We,
lot. And you
we
know
like
what?
it a lot.
You know what? You wouldn't survive against a Twilight vampire, okay? You would not make it. You could not run away from them. You
Yeah,
could not
they're
kill them.
very tough. Okay, so Twilight vampires are in fact like one of the toughest, like of the mainstream universe vampires. So, sit on a dick, relax. They're
You
fine.
literally have
The
to
fact that
tear them
they're
apart and burn the pieces to kill a
with other
Twilight
vampires, with other
with
vampires,
other
because you can't
vampires.
even really do it one on one.
Well, the only things that I think that can, yeah, even the shapeshifter werewolf tribe had to have other werewolves, like,
Yeah.
or help from other vampires. Like that.
So
Stop it.
don't get it twisted. Don't get it
Stop hating
twisted.
Twilight.
Also, the Twilight werewolves are some of the toughest shapeshifters, I guess.
Yeah, they're
But
shape.
those are some of the toughest shapeshifting wolves also in mainstream universes because they can bite through vampire skin.
Fun fact about the Eclipse movie, Peter Murphy from Bauhaus is in it. I discovered that recently. It was
What?
pretty exciting to me. Yeah, he's like, so you know the scene where like the Jacob's dad is telling the story about how the Cooliettes became wolves and shit, and like
Uh-huh.
yeah, and they talk about when like the what are the cold ones first started coming before even the Colons came or whatever. Like
Yeah.
he was the cold one that was like murdering the entire tribe in that sequence. That was Peter Murphy from Bauhaus.
Oh, no
So a little
way.
goth moment in Twilight. There we
I
go.
love that for us.
Also, the Twilight soundtracks were bombed, so there's another reason not to hate Twilight.
Yeah, minus the lullaby, which I will forever shit on. That was terrible. They
Minus the
should have just
lullaby and minus the last two soundtracks. The last
yeah.
two soundtracks only had like four good songs. They had the "It Will Rain" song by Bruno Mars, which was good. "A Thousand Years" was good, and then there was like a Green Day song that I liked. Okay, so maybe three songs. Either way, just shit on
The
Twilight for
first,
the right
okay,
reason.
okay, but we can all agree, I think all three of us can agree that the first soundtrack was the best one.
I like New Moon the best.
Really? But the
That
Paramore was heavy in the first album.
yeah, I like that song the best out of like all the songs on all the soundtracks, but I do like as a cohesive like album, I prefer the new.
Okay, okay, yeah, all right. I
Yeah.
can give you that. Yeah.
Which I hate that the full original Twilight soundtrack is not on Spotify. Like you have to buy it on like CD or something, which is annoying.
And I bet it comes with
Yes, it does. And the two Robert Pattinson songs.
I cannot. I lose my shit every time I hear it.
Also, if you guys haven't read Midnight Sun and you do like Twilight, go read Midnight Sun because it's actually pretty fucking great and it was way better than the other prequels or sequels that come out to old series. Like, oh, I don't know, the Harry Potter one and oh, I don't know, the Hunger Games one, which was very meh. The Harry Potter one was terrible. We don't need makes me angry. But go read Midnight Sun. It's great. If you hate humans, like if you hate everybody ever, it's a great read because it's literally just Edward just sitting there hating on people and planning out murders and shit. So go buy it. It's a good
That
time.
does sound great.
It's great. I had a good time, and you get to find out more about Bella because like that was one of my problems with Twilight was like you didn't Bella was just like this bland ass character you didn't really know much about except
She
for
was
that.
somebody that every reader could imprint themselves on.
I couldn't imprint myself on her. Like I was imprinting myself on her a little bit until the scene where she had to like in the book where she had to go meet Edward's parents and she decided to wear a peasant blouse and a ankle length khaki skirt, an ankle length khaki skirt, and he was like, "Ooh, it should be illegal how tantalizing you are right now," or whatever. I'm like,
Ah!
what?
Tantalizing! He's
Something like that. She's like it's like something he said she was kind of dressed inappropriate like in a joking manner. I'm like she's wearing an ankle length khaki skirt and a long sleeve peasant blouse.
Mormonism is a disease.
I remember I haven't reread the books in like months But like even before that, it had been like 5 years, and I still remember what she wore to meet the Cullen family, and I
Oh
was
my
so
God.
angry. Like nobody dressed like that. No teenager dressed like that in 2005. Not even the Mormon.
No, we were wearing low riding skinny jeans,
Yes.
band t-shirts, and hoodies that zip up.
Thank God that didn't happen in the movie. I was waiting for it. I was like, I swear to God. I swear to God, if you put her in a fucking floor length khaki skirt, I'm going to leave the theater. I'm going to. Which me and Bree saw that movie the day it came out, by the way. I bought her ticket and everything, and we waited out in the cold to go in because it was like a big ass long line. And
I
we
think I
brought
saw it
like,
a couple days after you guys saw it.
yeah, you saw it in Tacoma because I brought
Yeah,
Bree because you like had moved to another city at that point, and
yeah,
she was my
no,
only
I
friend that
saw it.
liked Twilight.
Yeah, no. I
Isaac.
remember because I called you the night after we saw it, and we just talked about it for hours on a
I remember.
landline.
I
On a
know
landline.
before you called me, I remember you emailing me on MySpace and being like,
My
you
friend.
literally said, and I remember this, that was better than Titanic.
I did say that, didn't I?
You did
Wow.
say that. And I was like, okay, wait, hold on. Don't say
I
that
was a
about me.
big fan. Let's just put it that way.
We did go through our phase where we pretended not to like Twilight for a good few years, but as of recently, it's like, fuck it.
We're too old to care now. Like, we like what we like. Fuck it.
Anyways, are we good with the Twilight? Should we move on to Anne Rice and erections?
Yeah, okay, because I have a bone to pick with Miss Thing. Get it? A
Bone
bone.
to pick.
That joke number
So
two. Absolutely.
let's start with we love the Vampire Chronicles. We love Anne
Okay,
Rice.
we're gonna do the opposite thing for Anne Rice that we
Yeah.
did for Twilight. We're gonna say all the things we like about it first, and then we're gonna shit on it.
I love all the characters. Well, most of
The
them.
characters were beautifully written. Obviously, she really cares about the world that she created.
She's one of the few like cis straight women that I think can write queer characters incredibly well and incredibly thoughtfully. A lot of people don't that do write queer characters. Like it's not always intentionally
Even when
malicious,
they're
but
vampires, they're
yeah,
humanized.
she's
They're
always
it's
yeah,
not treated like a circus act.
yeah. She's
Um,
obviously the
Also,
gothic lore.
the style of writing is very nice. I can't say anything bad about that.
No, there's
She
nothing
knows
bad
how to
about her
write.
writing. A lot of the storyline in general is pretty great. Minus like the period of time, which I don't know if this is still true, but when she made like Lestat like a Catholic when she was a Catholic for like that 10-year period. But we don't talk about that.
We don't
But
really talk about that. Yeah, I was gonna say
she there's a
she's a
lot of
great ally now.
yeah. Well, no, she was a good ally when she was a Catholic. She was still very liberal. That's part of the reason why she left. But I mean,
I
because
mean,
Lestat was still a gay. He was
yeah.
still a gay. She was like, no, I'm not making it straight. Are you kidding me? Like
Um,
none of her vampires, I think, are perfectly straight. I
no.
think they're all
Also, I love that she had vampires of color in her novel way before it was popular to do so.
yeah.
So
What
kudos.
what's Observer? Why is that on the screen? What's happening? What is that? Oh, magic.
So is that all the positive things we can think of?
There's more positive things, people. We just can't think of them right now because we're too busy focusing on erection. So let's just
Okay,
get to it.
so yeah, let's get down to the nitty gritty. We don't like the fact that vampires can't get boners. It kind of ruined the series for me.
Granted, her reasoning for it kind of pissed me off, but also I used the same kind of reasoning to not like the whole Edward getting Bella pregnant thing in Twilight. But she was like, because like it doesn't make sense. But she was like, oh well, they're vampires, so there's no blood flow because they're dead. And I'm like, it's a
It's a
fantasy though.
fantasy.
It's a fucking fantasy. I still remember blending out the Vampire Armand to Bree because we were both reading the series. And I liked it minus the erection thing because it wasn't like really talked about until like the later books. And I was sitting in the school library, and Bree comes in, throws the book down on the table, and she was like, "What the fuck?" And I instantly knew what she was talking about. It was a scene where Armand was trying to get it on with Marius, but he couldn't get it up, and Marius had to explain that vampire men don't get erections. And she was very angry about this for the rest of the school day. It was hilarious. And I think I don't know if you read it before us or after us, but you complained about it for a really long time. You're still complaining about it, actually. That's the whole point of this section. But
Honestly, controversial yet brave opinion.
mm-hmm.
I kind of like the movies better. Just for that.
I very
Especially Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah, okay. Interview with the Vampire, I will give you that. I think I prefer the book, but at least that one's a well-made movie, and she did write the screenplay, so good on her. She did a very good job for somebody who had never written a screenplay before.
Yeah. Like we said, nothing wrong with the style with which she writes.
Kelsey, can you hear yourself on the stream still?
I have the TV on mute.
Oh.
You want me to check?
Yeah, check real quick.
Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. Yeah, I can hear myself.
Okay, cool.
Can you hear me?
Oh, do you want me to turn it up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. We're doing testings because of blah, blah, blah. Anyways.
We've had audio issues, like we said earlier.
But anyways, continue, Joshua. You're the one, you were saying you liked the movies better than the books, and...
Especially Interview with a Vampire. I mean, honestly, like...
You there?
Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, I mean, Antonio Banderas.
Okay, that's something that me and Bree talked about in the car the other day. Antonio Banderas looks nothing like Armand. Nothing like Armand. If you don't know what Armand looks like, he has cherub, like curly, like, he looks like a cherub. He has curly blonde hair, and he's supposed to look the age of 14.
But, I mean, that's not Antonio Banderas' fault.
No, that's not Antonio Banderas' fault. He was excellent in the role, I will say that. But
like, characteristics-wise and personality-wise, I think he nailed it.
Yeah. But I did wish, I really wanted to see, like, a little 14-year-old vampire. But I get why she changed it. Because there's some problematic elements with that. I mean, they're not like Twilight vampires where, like, when they're turned, they're mentally at that age forever. So obviously, even though he looks 14, he's an adult. But we don't need to see Brad Pitt romancing a 14-year-old Antonio Banderas. Like, that's just not cute.
Mm-hmm.
We don't like it. Which that didn't really show a lot in the movie anyway. They, like, kind of dumbed down the queerness a little bit, in my opinion. Like, which I didn't like. Because Louis was very, like, sexually interested in Armand and shit in the book. Like, they were very much into each other, and that didn't really play out as much in the movie, I personally felt like, which was an issue for me. But, once again, it was the 90s, and even though...
Wildin' Out with Nick Cannon, 90s.
Ew.
Wildin' Out with Nick Cannon.
We don't like Nick Cannon. We don't stand anti-Semitic garbage. But, yeah... Queen of the Damned, though, obviously you know my opinion on that.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. We only love it for the reason we already went on for like an hour. Aaliyah. Absolutely. Point blank period. End of conversation.
Wouldn't want me to mess up.
So we touched on Anne Rice. We touched on Twilight. Shall we continue into True Blood, both the books and the show?
Yeah, I feel like we didn't.
Because I know that me and you both read the series.
Oh my god.
What's
Sorry.
this about? Just checking in, or you need me down?
Just a checkup. No one left for you to interrogate.
Yeah, we can talk about True Blood and Suki's Echo series.
Yeah.
We can. Do you want to talk about what it meant to you as a queer teenager?
Yeah, totally. I mean,
Because I gotta go to the bathroom really quick, so why don't you start?
Yeah. So I obviously have kind of, I read True Blood when I was in high school, a teenager.
Who is this?
And that's when the
How'd you
show was
get this
coming out.
frequency?
And so, we kind of got to read the books and watch the show. Certain things about the books we loved that unfortunately wasn't included in the series, and certain things that we didn't really like in the books that was done better in the show. But I'll wait until Kelsey comes back to talk about that, because I know she has a lot to say about that. Are you back, Bree?
Oh, I'm back. I've been back.
Okay. Did you ever read the True Blood series?
I did, but I never finished it. I think I had like 2 or 3 left to read.
Okay.
But like, I
Well,
honestly
and
don't
I know
remember
that
them.
Kelsey really wants to talk about the reading part of it, so we should probably wait until she gets back.
Yeah, and I don't think I've even gotten to season 2 of the show.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I think I own the. Well, I
You
don't know
got to
where my
season
season
2?
1 and season
Yeah.
2 went, but I know Kelsey has season 2, and I think she has season 3, and I think I have 4, 5, and 6.
I used
Or
to. I
something.
have season 1, and I think I have season 3.
Also, I have HBO Max, and Kelsey has an account, so just go to her house and watch the show.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get on our level.
Matriarch, display caller ID.
Displaying now.
So what? So
What? What?
You guys want to watch?
That's no.
What?
Matriarch,
What?
locate
What are you wanting?
source
What do you
of last
want?
call.
My
Are you
cat
talking?
again.
Calculating coordinates.
Oh,
Oh,
like we're not doing anything.
Location
Mr.
established.
Dorian Gray is
Tenement
back,
building.
everyone.
Class C
Is
district.
it serious or Dory?
It's Dory.
Jeez.
What do you
Adams
want?
stacks.
If you're gonna jump up here, fucking
You
jump up
just
here
had to
then.
hit bottom. Huh?
Oh my god.
Did you talk about Lafayette while I was gone?
Rock fucking bottom.
But so I was waiting until you come back to talk about Lafayette. So I just barely touched on the fact that there were things in the book that we liked that unfortunately we didn't see on the show, and there were things in the book that we didn't like that we were glad that the show kind of fixed, in our opinion.
Yes. Yes. Obviously, let's do love first. I like that how in the show, spoiler alert for everything we've talked about, obviously. I liked how in the show Lafayette got to live, whereas in the book series Lafayette died.
Was killed off after the first book.
Yeah. And he was. I'm
And
glad
he turned out to be such an important character during the show that it was honestly, I cannot imagine the show without him.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't be as good.
Rest in peace to Nelson Ellis, by the way, who died at a very young age, like I think back in 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And although he was not queer himself, he was still really beloved by the queer community for playing a character and what that character represented. And he himself was very kind toward the queer community.
Yeah.
So, icon.
He was an
respect.
icon. I'm glad he stayed alive, because I was so worried. Look at the kitty! Love ball. Wait, Jesus Christ, cat. But, that show, I remember when it came out, like, I hadn't read the books yet. I didn't start reading the books until, like, I think after the first season. Because I'm a big person about, like, I need to read the books before I watch the movies. So, like, I had to at least read the first book before I watched it. And I remember, I think I liked the show better for the most part. Because I don't, it just seemed to be more
Until the later books and until the later seasons.
Yeah, well, minus the last book. The last book was just, I hated it.
Yeah.
I was so angry. I don't like the series finale in the show, but I prefer it to
the ending in the books, yeah.
Yeah, but let's just, for anybody who's watched True Blood but hasn't read the books, at the end of the books, like book series, after being with Eric Northman for 5 books, 1 season in the TV show, don't get me started, she gets married to Sam, the bar owner. Sam, the bar owner, the person who she barely interacted with throughout the entire series, in both book and TV show. Why? What was the purpose of that? I don't understand it. Charlene Harris, I need answers because that was bullshit. And the thing with the show that I hated was they kept the Bill and Sookie romance for so much longer than what happened in the
Right.
books.
Truly.
Like,
Dorian.
just because I feel like just because the actors had great chemistry because they were married. I feel like that was the only fucking reason. Because nobody shipped Bill and Sookie together. I feel like we were all Team Eric. We all just wanted her to get on that Swedish dick and enjoy it for the entirety of the series. Or at least introduce Quinn, who
Truly.
was her boyfriend in the book series. We never saw him, like, in the TV series at all, and he was I think a were-tiger, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly. Nothing from him. And wasn't he also, like, a person of color, or
And
am I
wasn't she
wrong?
also with El Sud or the
That,
werewolf dude?
she was only with him in the TV show,
Okay.
Thank you for interrupting
which I
my
did like
game.
that.
Yeah,
Thank
that
you
was a
for
good
knocking
pairing. I
stuff
thought they worked
over.
well together.
I still
Thank you
think she
for
should have ended
moving
up
my
with
mouse.
Eric.
Yeah,
It just
I agree. But great show, great vampires, highly recommended.
lots of naked.
I don't know. At the end of the day, I minus Jason because I really did like Jason more in the books.
Yes, I did too.
And I felt like he kind of got cheated on his story because I really did enjoy his story in the books and about how he got turned into a were-tiger and what
Were
that
Panther.
meant and were-panther and what that meant and like I really, really liked that. I think it was book 4.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel
so
like
I still wish that would have been in the show, but that was my personal biggest gripe with the show.
I also feel like there was times like that the show did Tara better and worse in the book. So I feel like they gave her more like agency and more of a storyline than she was given in the books, but at the same time they did this thing which I fucking hated, which was make her the angry black woman. Like
Mm,
when Bill comes over for the first time and she asks him like if he owns slaves and everybody looks at her like she's being rude. I'm like, nope,
it's a
that's a
legitimate
great question.
question.
Like, why is she being seen as the rude person?
Yeah, and why is Snooki's grandmother never questioned about being a daughter of the Confederacy,
Granted, I
which
will
is
say I love
low-key a white
Snooki's grandma.
supremacist group?
Yeah, it's a low-key white supremacist group. I think the character, I loved her minus that. I think she was very sweet, and I don't think she had a hateful bone in her body. But being a part of the Daughters of the Confederacy was bleh,
Yeah,
bleh. And not getting a formal, like a full apology from Bill about being involved in the Confederacy. You know who was never involved in a racist hate group? Eric.
Eric.
Eric, never. He would never. Just but that scene of like Tara being looked at like she was the asshole pisses me off to this day. Like, granted, I do think she was bigoted against vampires, but that's a fair. I think if vampires were real and I
Dorian.
had met one that was a Confederate soldier, I would have asked that question.
Same.
Dorian.
I would have been like, I would have been that person to ruin the dinner party. God.
Dorian.
And I would have enjoyed myself doing it.
They kind of did her dirty and did her well, like I said. I did like her relationship with Pam. Pam, who was probably
Hmm.
one of my favorite characters in the entire series.
Yeah, Pam was the best character, I think. She's my favorite.
I knew she would be too when I started watching it. I was like, oh yeah, Josh is gonna be a big fan. Big
Yeah.
fan of Pam. Lesbian
Me and Pam are basically the same person.
yeah.
Take that how you want it. I think it's a great thing.
Dorian. I love you. I really do. You're so sweet. And you're so fluffy.
Well, yeah,
So
I guess that's kind of like the end of our stream, right?
Was there anything else we wanted to talk about? Like, did we want to touch on the whole vampire debate between like what a real vampire is and what a real vampire isn't, and why that's kind
Well,
of
I mean, yeah, like I guess we can tie that into like the misogyny thing you talked about on the podcast that we didn't get to record.
yeah. I think it's misogyny and like also people kind of being stuck in their ways. So if you don't
Well,
know,
I
there's
mean, honestly, it's misogyny in pop culture.
yeah. I mean, it's not. It's I didn't get to say like you didn't get to hear this in the episode, obviously, because it didn't work out. But in the episode, I talked about how like it. I found it misogynistic that it was okay to hate on Twilight, but it was nobody ever said anything bad really about something like the Fast and the Furious franchise, which in my opinion is just as cheesy and overdramatic and not as fun. Um, and that just tends to be a thing in pop culture. We tend to be more okay with the Fast and the Furiouses and the Transformers and whatever, but we are quick to shit on the Twilights, the 50 Shades of Greys, the Afters, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't be shit on in some form of an or another, but the reasons that they're shit on, they're a little problematic, if I do say so myself. A lot of like the sexism and shit that 50 Shades of Grey and Twilight are accused of, Transformers and Fast and the Furious also have a lot of. I don't know if you.
I mean, honestly, after the first movie, there was no reason to make more Transformer movies.
Same with the Fast and the Furious.
No, well, I don't know. I kind of like Tokyo Drift,
I don't like. I just. I don't think the
but it
fact
has
that
none of the same actors. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think they should be still making movies. The fact that they have two more movies coming out when that franchise started when I was like 11 years old, I think that's a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, bitch.
I was
Find
hoping
something new, honestly.
I was hoping after Paul Walker died that they would end it, which I'm gonna be problematic. Like I wasn't really sad when Paul Walker died because dude fucked a 16-year-old when he was 30, so stop idolizing him. Um, I really hoped that series would end, and it didn't for some reason, and I just don't understand why. Like I don't know what's happening in the series anymore. I think I stopped watching after movie 5, and I don't remember any of the movies except for 1, 2, and Tokyo Drift. All the other ones are kind of irrelevant in my opinion. But I mean, there's a thing obviously in the vampire fan community, like real vampires are like Nosferatu and 30 Days of Night, and then like fake vampires are like the Anne Rice vampires and the Twilight vampires. And I think that's kind of dumb. I think you should be able to like what you like without being told that you don't really like vampires, which I get a lot. And that's saying something because I've made it known that I like 30 Days of Night and Nosferatu and shit like that.
30 Days of Night was great. Honestly, I really liked it.
I I love the graphic novel series and I love the fucking movie with Josh Hartnett.
Yeah.
It was a
And I
bang.
love the Buffy the Vampire Slayer graphic novel series. I think it's
Yeah,
great.
I think that show is great. That's my favorite show. But her comic book series, like the new one and the old one, were both fantastic. And
Yeah.
they were like a combination of both the pretty and the ugly vampire. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, like they were pretty when they were like human presenting and they were demonic when they were like blood sucking.
Which was kind of like I think the Vampire Diaries kind of tried to do that with theirs, but like they were still hot when they were eating, so I don't think they succeeded in that. Because like the Vampire Diaries, like all that happened was their eyes turned like red or something, and then like they would get like this raccoon eyeliner veiny thing, and I was still like fully into them. I was like, nothing's changed my mind. I would, beautiful.
I mean,
That,
honestly, the Vampire Diaries were made for horny teenagers to
me.
cash in on the Twilight craze.
Well, I mean, the books came out way before Twilight did, though, to be
No, but the
fair.
TV show came out because of the Twilight craze.
Yeah, the TV show made people look at the Vampire Diary books again, which those came out in like 1990, the early 90s. And the TV series for the Vampire Diaries is very different from the books. The books are, well, they're not good. I personally like the TV show. I had a good time. I like took it for what it was, which was a cheesy fucking love triangle tropey bullshit. But I mean, once again, people are allowed to like what they like, so I don't really
Oh,
understand
totally.
why people have to get mad about shit. Like, I mean, I guess I can't really talk though because I was just judging Fast and the Furious people because I don't get it. I also don't get James Bond stuff. I don't get why people are still watching James Bond. Explain that to me. Why are we still making
I
James
kind of
Bond?
like James Bond.
I don't get it. I'm down for this new one, the one with like the black lesbian James Bond that's coming
Oh, I'm
out.
very ready for that.
I'm down to watch that, but I don't care about watching 40-year-old white men be secret agents. Maybe that's just, I mean, I'm down for John Wick. Like, give me all the John Wick movies you want to give me.
Oh yeah, Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves. If he wants to play a vampire in a movie, I'm down for that too. Like, I think he could still do it. I think he still looks young. But I don't know. Is there anything else really to talk about? I feel like Bree, you didn't really talk. Did you want to say anything?
No, I'm good.
Fun.
I drew most of that stream.
Well, all right, guys. Thank you for joining us for our impromptu live stream, where we admitted to being cringy vampire lovers. Lover bitches. Sorry, my bad.
Get it right.
And yeah, I hope everybody had a productive day and reflected on things they should be grateful for, and also reflected on the fact that we need to recognize the indigenous genocide that happened in this country that we just don't really talk about.
Speaking of which, I did leave on the Facebook page a bunch of links for if you want to be educated on like the land that you live on, whose tribe that belongs to, and how to be a better ally to Indigenous people. There's a list of resources on our page, including one for the Quileute Nation, who we mentioned in the Twilight talk part of our talk. They're in need of like help trying to move to higher ground because they live in a tsunami zone. So they're trying to get money to like be able to move their tribe and their reservation and keep all their culture and stuff at the same time. So please click on that, especially if you're a Twilight fan. Like I feel like since Summit Entertainment and Stephanie Meyer herself have never actually given them any money for anything or given them any credit for anything, the least you can do as a Twilight fan is to donate or share that link. So just that is going to be there for you, and I will also leave it under the YouTube video of this because that we're gonna put it on YouTube and hopefully try to put it on like Podbean and stuff. But other than
Yeah.
that, I think we're good.
Yeah. Good night, guys.
Good
Good night.
night.
Bye. Thank you for stopping by. See you guys next time. Bye.